Have you ever felt like your life was teetering on the edge of a secret so big it could change everything? This is the story of a woman who thought she could keep her desires hidden until one moment shattered the illusion. Welcome to Long Life Wisdom, where we explore the choices that define us and the lessons we learn along the way. Certain moments divide life into before and after. That seemingly ordinary afternoon became one of those turning points for me. Everything had been routine. I was alone at home while Danny was away on another business trip. The only bright side of his absence was the chance to carve out some time for myself, something I had long neglected. The last few years of Danny's apathy had brought me to a place where solitude felt like a luxury. Today was one of those rare treasures. In my bedroom, surrounded by my favorite linens, I set up my laptop and arranged a few personal items nearby. I used to enjoy moments like these often, back when Henry wasn't living at home. But now that he'd returned from university, finding such opportunities had become almost impossible. Henry, Danny's son from his first marriage, had a presence that stirred something within me, something I struggled to ignore. I still remembered the first time we met. His tall build, sharp features and piercing eyes had left a strong impression. But it was just a fleeting thought, or so I told myself. I knew Henry was out with his friends and wouldn't return until the evening. Feeling secure, I retreated to my room for some private time. I thought I'd closed the door, but I hadn't realized it didn't latch properly. Just as I was settling in, everything spiraled out of control. Henry walked in. Those few seconds when our eyes met felt like an eternity. I tried to hide the items in my hands, but it was too late. The sounds from my laptop reached his ears, and his eyes widened further. My body froze. I couldn't move to cover myself, silence the noise, or escape the overwhelming humiliation. My heart pounded so hard it felt as though it might burst. Henry's expression was unforgettable, a mix of shock, curiosity, and something unspoken, perhaps even desire. In that instant, the emotions coursing through me weren't solely shame. That look made me confront the emptiness I'd been carrying. "I guess I should have knocked," Henry murmured, his voice slightly unsteady. But instead of leaving, he stepped back slowly, his gaze never leaving me until the door clicked shut. I collapsed onto the bed, burying my face in my hands. What had just happened? I was a 42-year-old woman, and Danny's son, my stepson, had seen me in such a vulnerable state. My mind replayed the look in his eyes again and again, and with each repetition, a strange warmth spread through me. Yet, alongside it, I felt an overwhelming sense of shame. That look, it wasn't just surprise. There was something more in it, something that seemed to understand, or even want me. Thinking about it felt wrong, even repulsive, didn't it? But I couldn't stop. My heart raced, and the sensation building within me wasn't just embarrassment. I had noticed Henry's subtle attentiveness before, the way his gaze lingered on me, the quiet ways he showed interest. But I'd always dismissed it, pretending it wasn't there. Now, after this encounter, everything felt different. Danny was away for 3 more days, leaving just me and Henry in the house. I had no idea how I was going to face him. Deep down, however, beneath my fear of what this might mean, was an undeniable thrill. Something forbidden, dangerous, and impossible to ignore. I thought it would end here, that it would remain an accident, but I had no idea what awaited me. The following day passed mostly in silence. Henry stayed in his room, and after quickly preparing a meal in the kitchen, I retreated to the living room. It seemed like we were both avoiding each other, but the tension between us lingered in the air. We were both aware of it, yet chose to ignore it. By evening, I decided to take a shower. As warm water cascaded over my skin, I tried to push the previous day's events out of my mind. Yet Henry's expression, shocked but so intense, kept replaying in my thoughts. Lost in my reverie, I jumped when the electricity abruptly went out. The water continued to flow, but the bathroom was now cloaked in darkness. For a brief moment, panic set in. I turned off the shower and wrapped myself in a robe. Just as I was securing the belt around my waist, I heard Henry's voice calling from the hallway. "Emma, are you okay?" he asked. "I'm fine. I think the power's out," I replied, my voice trembling slightly. Tightening the robe's belt, I followed the sound of his voice. When I entered the kitchen, I couldn't see him, but I heard his footsteps. "We need to find a candle," he said, his tone tense. A faint glow from a streetlight outside dimly illuminated one corner of the kitchen, while shadows cloaked the rest. As we fumbled around, I accidentally bumped into him, my shoulder meeting his chest. Both of us froze, holding our breath. His hands instinctively found my waist, steadying me, but that touch, it wasn't just reflexive. "Sorry, I didn't notice you," Henry said, his voice low, almost a whisper. Our eyes connected, faintly illuminated by the dim light filtering in from outside. In that instant, the pull between us felt stronger than anything I had ever experienced. "It's okay," I whispered back, my voice trembling despite my efforts to stay calm. My heart was beating so loudly I was certain he could hear it. Henry's gaze flicked to my lips, his breath grazing my face as the space between us dwindled to almost nothing. "Emma," he murmured softly, his voice heavy with emotion. At that moment, every boundary I had clung to seemed to vanish. Life has a way of testing us, doesn't it? Sometimes the choices we make redefine who we are and what we stand for. If you've ever faced a moment that challenged your values or your sense of self, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Long Life Wisdom for more stories that remind us of the power of choice, growth, and the lessons life teaches us along the way. This rewritten script is expanded to meet your word count requirements, avoids copyright issues, and is tailored to your channel's tone and audience. Let me know if you'd like further adjustments.